We're about to use razor blades on car paint.
Hi, I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
And this is DIY Detail. The reason we have razor blades in our hands is this: overspray. And this overspray is thick, it's yellow on a blue car, which is not good. And just to show you that it actually is overspray, it's not just some chemical we put on there. Here's our waterless wash, spray it on there. And plus, you want to make sure the surface is clean before you do this. Waterless wash is a great way of doing it.
And by the way, it's raining on our rooftop here in the garage. So if you hear that, we appreciate your patience and understanding. We can't control Mother Nature, so it is what it is.
You want to do your side there, Nick?
Absolutely. We just washed this, by the way, so it's already completely clean paint, but this is for demonstration purposes. If you could just listen in, my microphone's here, so very rough under my glove. I normally wouldn't do that, but I know we're about to work on the paint.
Right.
The reality is, you decon this and it wouldn't come off with the decon towel. And you'd be like, what do I do next? Is it a clay towel? Do I polish? Do I wet sand? Ivan, the question so many people have is, because they're not gonna reach for the razor blade first.
No.
What do I do? What's going on here?
Well, people are afraid to use the razor blade, and in professional settings, when they're doing overspray removal, this is their tool of choice, because when done right, you're not doing any damage to the vehicle. There's no polishing necessary afterwards. Now, there are ways of screwing it up, and we'll show you those ways. But with a properly prepped razor blade, we can remove this without doing any further damage. If you're trying to use a plastic razor blade, you have to work and you're gonna be scratching the paint more than anything else. If you're trying to use a clay bar, you'll need to use an aggressive clay bar, which means you're gonna be dulling the surface, which means you need to be polishing.
So we don't have to polish after this?
There's a good chance we won't need to polish.
And another good chance is not everybody's gonna know what overspray is. Can we go over that real quickly? What is paint overspray?
Paint overspray or just heavy contamination. So contamination you can see and feel like this. And overspray is from paint hitting this. Sometimes it's insulation. There's all sorts of things that can happen from overspray. Another thing is you're driving down the road, they just painted the white lines. You have no choice but to go over one of those lines and you get white or yellow down the side of your vehicle. That's the other one. Now, the choice of razor blades is very important here. I have a razor blade that says made in the USA. That is important for the quality of the blade. There's others that are made in China or just don't even tell you where they're made. The quality of the blade can be questionable and the sharpening of the blade can be questionable.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and the made in the USA blades, you can usually find them at your hardware store under the Stanley brand, or there's other brands, but just make sure that this top bar here says made in the USA. Then from there, we need to prepare the razor blade because we don't want to scratch the paint with it. And if you've ever been to a barber shop where they've got the big leather strop and they're taking the razor blade over it to do that final honing, that's basically what we're doing here, but we're using the windows to do it. The first thing, I have some sandpaper, and the grit of sandpaper is not that important. Anywhere from 600 to 2000 will do the job. And let me go to our spot camera here. And what we want to do is round over the corners. Now I'm making sure to have the made in the USA facing up when I'm doing that. And if you can see here, this corner is now round, whereas that one is very square. So I'm gonna round over the other corner. And it doesn't take much to do it. And now both corners are round. So there's nothing that can dig into the paint. From there, I'm going to hone the blade. So just like we said, that barber shop, they're honing the blade on that leather strop, same thing. I'm going to be using the windshield or any piece of glass, but in this case, I'll use the windshield, and using ceramic gloss as our lubricant.
How critical is using ceramic gloss? If you had quick beads, would that work okay?
No, quick beads is too dry of a formula. Then, again, with the made in USA facing up, I'm going to deposit the blade, no pressure on the blade, and I'm putting my finger under the blade. So that's acting as a fulcrum. It's acting as a pivot point, and that placement of the finger is important for what comes next. Then I go over and I slowly apply just a little bit of tension with my thumb. And you keep doing that till you don't hear anything. And that means you've honed the blade properly.
And we're only going to be using it at this angle on paint?
Right. We're using the same angle everywhere. If I can grab that towel, Nick.
Sure.
because ceramic gloss, when it dries, it's like concrete.
Yep.
So we'll get it off the windshield here.
Easy to use product, but very substantial. So
Yeah.
you have to respect it at the same time as it's beginner friendly and simple.
Right. Now, always using that made in the USA facing up. So the other side of the blade has nothing written on it. This gives us a visual cue as to how to hold the blade. Then I'm going to spray a bit of ceramic gloss on the surface, again to act as lubrication. Put the blade down with my finger underneath it and just go across the surface lightly. I'm not putting any pressure on the blade. And you can see.
This is insane.
It's lifting that off.
No way. Look at that. And that's like the 50-50.
Yeah, there's no marring, there's no scratching, there's no blade marks.
No, the scratches is from this rental car going through the scratch pads 80 million times. There's nothing different here than up here. I'm looking at it very honestly because
the scratches are front to back. Why don't I go on a 45-degree angle?
Okay.
So again, be generous on the lubrication. And you don't want to use long strokes, short strokes, no pressure, and just moving across the panel.
Do you want to like stop and clear your blade there or?
Yeah.
Okay. I always wondered how long you can work that before you're driving some more into the.
And we still have that front to back scratch, no side to side scratches.
Is this really safe, Ivan?
It is. Now, there are ways you can screw up. One of the ways of screwing up is we have this body line here. And if I go across the body line or down the body line, now I'm risk scratching it or I risk scraping it. Another thing is going side to side. You don't want to go side to side. So from here.
Why not side to side?
That's when you can slice the paint. So you want to go back and forth. So we have overspray down to here. So again, a generous amount of ceramic gloss. And I'm just going to lightly go over the surface. No pressure. Now here we have a curve coming up. I don't want to go sideways on the curve because I'm going to dig in. So I'm going to go with the curve.
Are you putting any pressure on it?
No pressure whatsoever. The fingers and the thumb are just there to hold the blade.
And are you like letting this finger under the blade kind of like go against the paint as you go? Okay,
yeah.
Got it.
So that finger is acting, like I said, as a pivot point or a fulcrum. And you can see it's all gone. Now here, I still have a little remainder. Again, I don't want to go this way because of that curve in the body. So I'm going to go down the slope or down the curve. I'm going to go just across the peak. Now there's just a little bit of overspray here.
Yeah, I see a little bit left down here.
Yeah. So again, ceramic gloss as our lubrication.
Would this work better than rinseless wash? Why ceramic gloss?
Ceramic gloss has more body to it. And it's that body that we want. Now I'm going up to that body line. And actually there's a little bit up here, so get it as well. So we still have a few little drops down here.
Are there any vehicles you wouldn't do this on? I mean,
No.
This to me seems like an aggressive method. Couldn't I try a clay bar first?
It's actually the least aggressive method, Nick. We're not doing anything to the paint at all because we're just gliding the blade and it's lifting off what's on the surface.
You're blowing my mind.
Now, if you've never done this before, get a scrap panel to practice on. Don't take your prized possession and try this because we have a tendency sometimes for people to go side to side. And as soon as you go side to side, that's when you cause scratch. Ready to try it, Nick?
I was gonna say, should I practice on a scrap panel first? I mean,
It's a rental car.
what about this? Do we take this off first?
Yeah, we can. And again, if you're working with a razor blade, never go side to side. So move away from the razor blade to take that stuff off of there. And if you feel the razor blade starting to get scratchy, get another razor blade.
How do you know it's starting to get scratchy, rough?
You'll hear it and you'll feel it.
Okay.
And with myself, when we have, in the past, when I've done overspray jobs like this, I'll use one blade to do this size of panel, like a car that's covered. One, scrap it. Do half the roof, scrap it. Do a door, scrap it. So about a 3 foot by 3 foot section.
How incredibly fast. All right, I'm gonna be very careful here.
Yeah.
So USA's up.
Yep.
Here's my fulcrum point.
Yeah, lubrication first.
Yep.
Lots of lubrication. More is better.
Okay.
This is the one time, Nick,
Okay.
that more is not a bad thing.
Okay.
And just small little short strokes.
Oops, up like this, yeah?
No,
Oh, you want to just kind of...
because of this body line, you want to go side to side.
You can kind of see how Ivan was a little bit more confident with his strokes, and I'm okay with this. I'm gonna make sure that the back of my finger is
Yeah.
working the paint. You don't want that on there? All right, it's working. Ever so slowly.
And it's something that over time, you'll pick it up. It'll be second nature. When I see something dried on the surface, whether it be tree sap, whether it be paint overspray like this, it could be artillery fungus. This is a great way of getting rid of it.
Am I okay to kind of rely on the back of like all
No,
of this
so
as my base? Like this is kind of what I feel like I'm working my fingers and I'm just trying to let this glide.
Yeah, exactly.
It gets more aggressive if I do this, least aggressive.
Yeah, no, you want to keep that same angle throughout the whole thing. So the angle that you use on the windshield or on any piece of glass to hone the blade is the same angle you keep throughout the whole thing.
Let's look at it.
So you're going left to right. Do you see any left or right scratches? For someone that's never done it before?
No.
No.
No. Wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's actually really cool. I just learned something, Ivan. I mean, I've seen you do this before, but I never did.
No, a lot of people are afraid to do this for no reason whatsoever. It all comes down to preparing the blade properly. And preparing the blade, like we showed, round over the corners with some sandpaper, then hone it on a piece of glass. If you're afraid to do it on your windshield, and this is bears saying again, get good quality made in the USA blades. The made in China blades, you may actually scratch your window if you're trying to hone the blade on there. So pay the extra 2 or 3 cents per blade to get the good ones.
Don't cheap out on blades.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing you say. Okay, well, I'm gonna keep doing this, Ivan. Maybe you'll finish it for me, I'm not sure. What do you think?
It's up to you.
I almost feel like switching blades, but you don't think we're at that point yet?
Let me try it and I'll be able to tell just by the feel.
Okay.
But if you are at a point where you think you need to change blades, do so. They're cheap, they're inexpensive.
I'm just kind of chasing the moisture on there, so I'm just trying to, okay, where do I see, and I don't want any ceramic gloss drying on me, so I'm gonna kind of.
Yeah. Now, one thing Nick was doing, and I could hear it,
Okay.
he wasn't putting quite enough pressure with his thumb. You have to put just a little teeny amount.
Oh, thumb is on top, right?
Yeah,
This
the
was
thumb is on
okay,
top.
I got it.
And the reason I can tell is this. The backside of his blade is covered in paint. And I was hearing the paint lift as you're going backwards instead of forward.
This is fun. Learning new things is fun. Having never done this before, wow, and I didn't leave any scratches.
No.
Okay, so how do you go over this body line? I want to watch you. You're going towards yourself?
Yeah, I'm just going across the body line. So I'm going up the hill, if I can.
Are you getting more gentle on the pressure as you get to the top of that body line?
My pressure is equal all the time.
So this is why we have a clay towel, is because you don't need a clay bar. I always say have one for contamination jobs, but now that I know this,
Yeah, and
the
this
clay
is
bars
actually
are going in the garbage.
and this is actually faster. You know, once you get into the swing of it.
Right,
so
right.
if I'm not doing this for video, this is my rhythm.
Wow.
And when you don't hear it anymore, you're done.
Does it make sense to just hit this with a polisher when you're done, just to triple, just to? You don't.
Wipe it off. Tell me if it needs to be polished compared to the rest of the vehicle.
No, the rest of the vehicle's trash too. I don't know. I'm scared, Ivan.
If you want to polish it afterwards, you can.
Got a little spot up here. I guess we probably let it dry and tell us. Wow. Can you, because sometimes when I learn, everybody learns. Let's start over with the blade, but let me prime it. Let me do all the things. Okay, so I have a fresh blade here.
Nick's blade we will not put on the paint because it is a nondescript blade.
Okay.
We need it to say made in the USA. Very important. And if you're not in the US, get the highest quality blade you can. So if you're in Europe, probably a made in Austria or made in England blade. And let me put this down.
That was mind-blowing.
Yeah. So we still have some streaks left from the ceramic gloss that we just didn't quite wipe off because our towel was getting wet.
We worked this on the window first.
No, you start with the sandpaper first.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we...
So
Repeat.
pick
rinse,
pick a side that's up for you.
Okay, we'll pretend made in the USA is up here.
Yeah. Now you want to take, I'll do one corner and you can see. So I take the corner of the blade and on a steeper angle.
Are we pretending made in the USA is here?
Yeah, we're pretending.
Facing us.
Right. So actually there's a little dot on this side.
All right.
Let's use the dot.
Okay.
I'm rounding over the corner. I'm not trying to hit this edge of the blade. I don't want to hit that edge. I just want to take the corner off. And I'll exaggerate the rounding of the corner so we can really, really see it.
So you're not trying to like sharpen an edge of the blade. You're trying to get rid of the corner which can dig in.
Right. So now if we look at it, that corner is really round compared to the square corner there.
So the square corner, am I then switching anything over to try to do the same thing on this one, or no? We just want.
So we did this corner with this side up. So you want to do that corner with that side up.
Like this?
Yeah.
Away from me?
Away from you, yeah.
Okay. I feel like it's not doing much.
Look at the blade, you'll see how much you've rounded it over.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Can I just go straight in like that?
No, you want to lay it down. Yeah, like
lay
that.
it down and flip, or just lay it down?
Just lay it down. There you go. So you have a nice rounded corner.
Yeah, because before that was, and I don't know what the phone's picking up, but before that was a
perfect square.
Perfect square, a little point.
Yep.
Okay, so now I've got the rounded corner.
Yep.
Made in the USA, I know what side that is.
Right.
And that's going to be the side eventually that I would be doing this on.
Right.
So that's going to be facing up, got it.
So now we take our ceramic gloss.
All right.
And on a clean piece of glass.
Do I work it anyway?
Yeah.
Just the same way I'll work it.
So same angle that you would use on the paint, you'll use on the glass.
Made in USA is up.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna practice my strokes. And what is this doing, Ivan?
That's honing the edge of the blade. One way of thinking about it is your blade, if you look at it under a microscope, it looks like a jagged edge. This is taking off that jagged edge.
How many passes would you say we do this for?
Until you don't hear or feel it anymore.
I've noticed a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's still something under there. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, it could be the glass.
Yeah.
Let's add a little more lubrication there.
Okay. Okay. I think it might just be the glass has stuff on it. I mean, if there was stuff on the hood, then there could be some overspray on the glass, right?
Could be.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. At that point, dry off your glass because we don't want ceramic gloss sitting on there too long.
Got it? This is fun. Y'all got to try this. But don't try it just to try it, right? Try it if it's necessary.
Well, if you have a scrap hood, if you have an old vehicle that you're not really worried about a scratch on, then yeah, go for it.
I think I got some of that overspray on the cowl there. All right. Let's get that ceramic gloss off of there. Wiped in as it is happily designed to do.
Now there's an area here, Nick, that still has a couple little drops on it. So just over this body line.
Okay.
So you've got your razor.
It doesn't have made in the USA on it, so we weren't going to use it.
So again, we've got a couple drops there, and we have a really acute body line.
All right.
So we never want to go this way across the body line because it's going to dig in, even though we rounded the corners. So finally, what we do, ceramic gloss on there, and then go down that slope. Now you notice when I move up, I'm sort of going in a W pattern. I never want to slide across.
Right.
Because if I slide, I slice. So I'm going in a, what could be termed a W pattern. And then down the slope again. So on a body line like this, you never want to go with the body line, you always go across it. Same with here, we always go across the body line like this, or down the slope, not lengthwise.
Yeah, it almost feels like when you're, if you ever tried the more traditional way of shaving, not the blades, but what is it called? The kind of shaving where you put it in the not like a Gillette.
Yeah, a cartridge.
A cartridge, and you want to shave with your hair versus this. This might be the second pass or third, but you never want to start like that, especially when you're just getting going, because you'll just irritate or cut your face.
Yeah.
So if you have a respect for a blade in that way, this kind of made sense to me. Kind of just shaving in short strokes, staying safe. Maybe that didn't make sense to you, but it made sense to me. Anyway, I hope this helps somebody out there, Ivan. I think this is a great video, and I can't believe we've never done it yet.
No, and you know, I've seen a lot of people online, they use very harsh chemicals to do this that can damage the underlying paint. They'll use a lacquer thinner, or they'll use like something that's designed to remove adhesives with a plastic razor blade and spend an inordinate amount of time trying to scrape that off, doing more damage than good. Here, we haven't done any damage whatsoever. We've removed that overspray. Paint is as good as it was before it got the overspray on it.
Let's say you mess up somehow and you dig in and you create a pretty deep scratch. What would we do then?
Light polishing. It will never be that deep. The only way you can get deep with this is going side to side, because the razor blade is extremely sharp, and if you pull sideways, you are going to slice the paint. So again, practice on something you're not too concerned about, or get a window at the house and just practice on the window, because you're not going to slice the window.
I'm sold, Ivan. You've changed my life. I hope folks enjoyed this. And in fact, if you want to see a video that has changed lives, and I know that because it's one of our most viewed, so I assume folks are learning about it out there, check this video out. It has a lot to do with polishing paint, which I think you might have to do if you mess up.